In this lesson, you'll learn an easy fingerstyle acoustic 12-bar blues that sounds great, but it doesn't require you to spend months perfecting your fingerpicking technique. Hey, John here with your Tuesday Blues, and we're going to break down the first 12 bars of this composition, and you'll get the performance at the end of the video with on-screen tabs. Now, if you want to go further, premium members have access to the second part of the arrangement, along with downloadable tabs and the interactive Sound Slice tab player. This example blues is great for new finger pickers. Getting your thumb trained takes a lot of time and focus practice, but in this piece, we're kind of letting it off a little bit easy, and it's only responsible for plucking a few notes here and there. In fact, that's where we start. Open 6th string on the downbeat to kick us off, and then we're going to brush up the top 2 strings from this little train whistle happening here on the 8th fret of the 2nd string and 7th fret of the 1st string, and you give it a slight little bend and you get that train whistle sound. Classic blues move. So we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and. So the thumb only plays 2 notes in this whole measure here. Well, 3. We'll get to the 3rd one in just a second, but so far just 2. We've got the bass, then we're brushing up, 2 and 3 and. Then we pluck the 1st string open with the index finger, and that's going to give us some time to move to play the next note, the last note of this bar, which is the G sharp, 1st fret of the 3rd string. And I'll use that a lot in acoustic blues, playing an open string or strings and using that time to pick my hand up off the fretboard and get in position. A dramatic shift from way up here to down here on the fretboard. And that open string, being the only note ringing, is going to help us do that. Right? So to move on to the next bar, it's a lot the same, just the ending has changed. So we play the open 6th, and then on the end of 1, 2 and 3 and. So there's the E note on the 3rd string, 9th fret again. But here, before we did this move on beat 4 and the end of 4, but here we're going to hold through the end of the measure. We just want to let that hang. It's important to give your blues some space sometimes. We don't have to fill every slot with a note, and we're going to do that here. Then we play measure 1 again for bar 3. And then finally, we're going to wrap up with a move over this E position. Now, you could play a full E here, but what I'm going to do is make it a little easier on myself and play the E on the 4th string, 2nd fret, and then my index finger is on the 1st fret of the 3rd string. It's already there from before. We're just going to hold that, let it ring, and we're going to kick off the 4th measure with that E with the thumb picked. And then we're going to brush up through the top 2 strings here. And we're going to play 8th note rhythms. And the 1st is on the and of 1. And it's just the 2 open strings. And then put down on the C sharp, that's the 2nd fret of the 2nd string, and play 2 8th notes. This is beat 2 and and then come up, and you can slide up here, or you can use your little finger and play 3 and 4, brushing up. Now what's really important here is that you're hearing both notes. The open first string, which is just kind of droning on here, and the fretted note. You don't want to get sloppy and start to hear that first string cut out on you. All right, and of 4, we now aren't really using the ring finger, it's behind the little finger, so you can pick that up. This might be a little tricky move here. This is where the fingers need to have sort of an independence on the fretboard, and I'm going to reach up and play the G on the 3rd fret 6th string. That's going to get us out of the first 4-bar chunk and head us into the bit over A, which is coming up. But let's play through these first 4 bars. When we end measure 4 on that G note, we're begging to go somewhere. It's kind of pulling us into a chord change. And that chord that we're going to is A. So we're going to start off with the A bass. That's the 5th string open. There's our 1 beat. And then we're going to slide up into this little partial chord shape here. It's coming from an A major triad, but I'm really just going to focus on the C sharp, 3rd string, 6th fret, and the E on the 5th fret of the 2nd string. And we're also going to utilize the open 1st string here. And these two are E's, so you really don't need that open 1st string here, but when you play it together in unison, you get kind of a little chorusing effect. It just adds a little extra chime from the guitar for a little bit bigger sound. It's subtle, but we're going to use that here. So we step into the measure, and then and of 1, we're sliding in. I'm just plucking that 3rd string with the thumb, and then brushing up, and then back to the 3rd string, and then 3 brush ups with 8th note rhythm. We're now at beat 3 and 4, and a 4, back down to that G on the 6th string to set us up for our A again. And then we're going to start out like we just did on the previous measure. But here, instead of coming back and playing the 3rd string at the 6th fret, we're going to slide up and play this A7 shape. All right? Great little shape. I'm at the 9th fret, 3rd string, 8th fret, 2nd string, 9th fret, 1st. Very usable chord that you're going to see a lot in a lot of different styles of blues. So once we're here, we're going to brush up a total of 3 times. And then back down. So pretty dramatic change in position here. And the way we're going to accomplish that is on the 3rd brush up here, we're going to punch it. I want to just choke out and just play that really short so that I can stop everything from ringing. Notice I picked my hand off the guitar there and I don't have any noise or anything. It's because I choked the strings out on my way to that G, which then we're going back to E, but that's coming up in the next set of bars here. It's important that we know how to punch that and get that staccato sound. So really what's happening is I'm playing the notes on the fretboard and then I'm gently lifting up off the string so that they're not pinched behind the frets anymore. And then they stop. They stop ringing. That's what we want. Just a little dead moment to get us back down, right? So instead of using the open string as a sort of connective tissue from a high position to the lower position here, we're using some rhythm, right? Or lack of it, a rest right here. All right, so let's play through the couple bars. By the way, the next section is where we've been before, but then we do end up with a little bit of a difference in the E part, right? So before we play through this and review it, let's cover it. So we hit the E, and then we do these brush ups like before, right through here, but the rhythm is slightly different here. We're going to brush up once, so 1 and 2 triplet. All right, so we're brushing up with the index finger, but playing triplets here. 1 and 2 triplet 3. Come up on beat 3, and then for the and of 3, we've got 3 and 4 and. Just walking down, getting ready to change chords here. All right. All right, and you can feel that just kind of pull you into the next chord, which is coming up. But now let's play through bars 5 through 8. This next measure starts in B7, and we kind of set ourselves up for it from the end of the previous measure. We did that intentionally. Right here, that is in the chord. So let's keep that planted, let it hang over to the next measure where we start playing in B, but now we can get the rest of the fingers into position here for a B7 chord shape. And then really just some light picking here. We've got 1, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's do that again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right, so just brushing up top 2 strings. If you hit the 3rd, it's all right because it's covered by the chord. It's going to sound good. And then there at the end, we're just going from the B on the 5th string, 2nd fret, to that 1st fret on the 4th string, and then back. Before opening up the 5th string so that we can do some more brush ups, but this time over an A7 chord. All right, once we open up, you'll get into this chord shape, and then we're going to brush up through the and of 1, top 2 strings, 2 and 3, with a tiny little lick here on the and of 3. Open 1st string so you can pick up the chord here. D on the 2nd string, 3rd fret, and then back to the E. All right, and this is where we then get into the turnaround. All right, and here we've got a hand off the fretboard. That we're going to do a small position shift. We want to target this B on the 3rd string, 4th fret here. So 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and. Again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And you can hear how this kind of hints at some of the familiar blues turnarounds, but we're keeping it nice and light here before wrapping up in the final measure, 1 and 2 and 3. And then a couple of brush ups just to end that measure, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All right, and at this point we've covered the final 4 bars, so let's play through them. Now I'm going to play into it from the previous measure. Just ending with a big E chord there, or it's a great place to continue and add another chorus. All right, now that we've gone through the measures, let's hear this as one 12-bar arrangement. Remember to grab the tabs and access to over 50 step-by-step courses to help you play better acoustic blues with a membership to BGI. Join now at the link in the description, and if you want to keep learning, just click or tap right over here, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, practice smart and play on.